Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Lily. This is Lily Shelf, and it is time to talk about episode 10 of Love Island season 7. Everyone's coming off the platform, right? The guys and the girls split off. You know, the guys are welcoming the new bombshells. The girls are welcoming the new bombshells, letting Iris know that she is stunning. Okay, that she is stunning and they do like what they see. I think it's Sierra that said, like, like how were all the kisses? Iris is like, they're all good. And that she's from California. She's a spray tan artist. Huda's like, oh, I'm gonna need that. Girl, weren't you just calling this girl out her name? And now you joking that now you need a spray tan? Please. Huda is so... Jalen is a trucker. Like, he drives big rigs, stuff like that. Pepe played pro basketball and now he's retired, so he's opened up a gym and an after school program, which is really cute. Charlie asked who they enjoyed kissing. Pepe keeps it cute. He says everybody was beautiful, so he can't pick just one person. But Jalen is like, oh, Landria. Yeah, I liked kissing her. That was quite nice. And Taylor's face just drops. Like, you can see he does not like the fact that he is now in competition with this man, because Jalen is stacked. He is swole, okay? So Iris is asking about the girl situation, like who in the house is like closed off, who's still pretty open. And Huda immediately is like, me and Jeremiah are closed off. Like, we haven't said it in words. We haven't said it in words, but we're both very happy where we're at. And Jeremiah does not want anybody else. And Iris is like, okay. But while Huda is talking up her connection with Jeremiah, every other girl in the house is like, girl. The strongest connection? But nobody says anything, okay? Nobody says anything because nobody wants to pop Huda's bubble. Because Huda, honestly, from the time where she started talking to Alandria, low-key out the side of her neck, when Alandria was trying to come to her because Huda felt a way that Alandria called her out when Huda was doing too much, when all the guys stood up to try to be chosen by Sierra, and when Alandria went to say, I apologize for how it made you feel because my comment wasn't meant to come off as shady. I was just trying to let you know, let's not do this out in public. And Huda was like, she could have pulled me aside, and why did this have to be public? And low-key, she started crying when she was talking to Alandria, low-key weaponizing her tears. And again, every time somebody talks about Huda and Jeremiah, they all say Huda is more invested than Jeremiah, it seems like, to the girls, because of the way that Huda likes to spin tails when she comes back and tells the girls how, her dates with and her chats with Jeremiah went. So, like, all the girls can tell at this point, Huda does not like being called out. Huda does not want to take any accountability. So while they're making faces like, girl, you are absolutely not the strongest connection, they're also probably biting their tongue because they don't want to get into it. You confront somebody because you want change behavior, but Huda has shown she's not going to change her behavior. So Sierra asks who is Iris's type off the bat. Iris does say Nick. And Sierra's like, everybody should be worried Iris is a catch, but she wouldn't be a bombshell if she didn't like my man. Iris, in her confessional, she says that she knows there are cracks in Huda and Jeremiah's foundation, and she plans to slip through those. I said, okay, Iris, you came to play. Pepe pulls Hannah for a chat. Hannah says it's early days, so she is still open to explore. And they go through the game of like getting to know each other and stuff. They don't go too deep. Charlie is stressed. Meanwhile, like, Charlie is peeping that his girl is laughing a little too hard and a little too long at Pepe's jokes. So he's like, whoa, I thought what we had was good. Hannah, don't forget where home is. Hannah, in her confessional, she's like, like, I'm screwed, implying that she's really starting to feel Pepe. And I'm like, Charlie, you probably need to be worried. Because I think he asked her, do I need to be worried? And she was like, nah. Charlie, you need to be worried. Nick and Iris go for a chat. Sierra has Huda tell her like where they go, because Huda is facing to where she can see Nick and Iris, but Sierra's facing the other way so that Sierra doesn't look like she's looking. She has Huda give her kind of like a play-by-play of what they're doing. A fly lands on Iris's boob and Nick is like, I don't want to, but you gotta, I can't, but you okay, you got it. Like, Iris looks down, she's like, ah! So they share a laugh about that. But again, even though I feel like Nick may be Iris's type on paper, I'm not really feeling a lot of chemistry between them off of their initial chat. Nick does say in his confessional that he was having a hard time focusing on Iris's words because his eyes were too busy drinking her in. So maybe that's why I wasn't feeling a connection between them off rip. Huda and Jeremiah go talk. Huda's like, how do you feel about the bombshells? And then Jeremiah, I can't remember what he says, but somehow it gets around to Huda saying she wants Jeremiah to do more. And Jeremiah's like, are you serious? Like, what are you talking about? Because Huda says, Ace is out here doing different date ideas for Shelly. I think Austin also went out and did a date at this point for Shelly. And, she's seeing every other guy basically doing something for their girl, and Jeremiah is not doing that, and she wants that. So she's trying to tell him she wants that, but comparison is a lot of men's Achilles heels. So Jeremiah's not here for this. Jeremiah's like, look, I'm still processing the fact that you have a whole kid, and I'm trying to process what my life would look like if we continue to pursue things. He doesn't say that, but that's the vibe that I'm getting, that like he's trying to process, okay, if I'm serious about this girl, what will my life look like? Taking in what Huda has said, taking in what Nick has said, that like kids are not toys, okay? You do need to be serious and you need to prioritize them. I'm not saying pause your life and moms and dads can't have lives, but your child should be a priority. He's still processing all that, and so he doesn't really have the brain capacity to think to himself, okay, Ace just did this cute date for Shelly. Let me go pull Huda for a dance date or a yoga date. Huda is in her confessional. She does say she likes her men obsessed. I knew it. I knew it, because she said that Jeremiah is not there yet and she wants him to be there. And then Jeremiah complains about the hickey that Huda left. I thought he was joking until later on in the episode when I see it. The hickey is huge. Like and it's not like Jeremiah has long hair. And a lot of them don't wear shirts. So it's like he can't cover up that big old hickey. And so everybody else is like, okay, so she's marking her territory. Iris is kind of turned off by that because she did want to talk to Jeremiah, but like he's got a big old hickey. Olandria is talking to Jalen. Taylor feels a way about that. He should. This is what you get for not applying the pressure that you should have been applying. Because Olandria is a catch, okay? And I still low-key want her and Nick to pursue their connection because I could see it. Jalen comes from a super small town, so they kind of joke and laugh about that. Ace is telling Taylor, like, you have to step up your game or you're going to lose your girl. And Taylor's like, I know. But I'm honestly glad that a bombshell has entered that is like so focused on Olandria, because this really will show us and Taylor if he's really about Olandria or if he was just playing so that he can stay in the villa. Olandria does tell Jalen that, her and Taylor are getting along very well, but they're not closed off, so she can still explore stuff with him. And Jalen's like, say less. Amaya and Pepe talk. They're getting to know each other. They're not going too terribly deep, but like Amaya's in her confessional. She is gagged. She's already feeling this man. She's like, Amaya may be in love. The man is hot. They bond. I think they bond over the fact that like they both kind of speak Spanish. She is Dominican. I can't remember what he said that he was. But they both speak Spanish, and like they both said that family means a whole lot to them. We find out that Amaya is the oldest of 4 siblings. Iris stops Jeremiah on the stairs because it's about to be nighttime, and she just lets him know that there is interest there on her part, and she does want to pull him for chats and get to know him. Jeremiah says that's cool on some friendly stuff, but we can definitely get to know each other. Hannah and Landria are talking, both joked that they couldn't really do anything because their partners were in view, so they didn't want to like kiss the bombshells or anything out of respect for their partners. I kind of wanted them to be a little messy. Sure, a little peck, just a little stuff, whatever you're comfortable with, of course. But you know, just a little peck, just a little stuff. Then Huda is asking Jeremiah if she needs to be worried, even though you haven't asked me to be your girlfriend. Keep that in mind. So Huda and Jeremiah low-key are acting like a married couple already, but Jeremiah has never once asked this girl to be his girlfriend. And Huda is aware of this fact, but she's still gonna move like she's his girlfriend, which again, I think Huda would have done better on A Love is Blind or Married at First Sight. Jeremiah's like, if we're together, no. And then Huda asks if they would share locations. Jeremiah says he doesn't really like that. Huda says it's hard for her to trust people because she fears that people will leave her. This might be the most vulnerable we have ever seen Huda get. And I feel like once the right man comes along, because Jeremiah is clearly not the right man for her, because Huda, even though her and Jeremiah have been stuck like glue, I feel like Huda is still in fight or flight mode. And so she hasn't softened during her time with Jeremiah. So then we flash to the morning. Taylor's giving everybody shape-ups. I said, oh, period. Nick makes Sierra and Iris breakfast. Sierra feels a little bit awake about that. Alandra is telling the girls that Taylor was very handsy last night. The same man who said he wasn't. Okay. I love it. I love a good healthy competition, especially when it's over somebody like Alandria, because she is the total package, please. So Jeremiah brings Huda breakfast, but the pancakes are undercooked. Yikes. And Huda points to it. She's like, no protein? And Jeremiah's like, no, like, you know we have to take turns at the stove, right? But are eggs not protein? I know she meant like bacon, like some kind of meat, but I mean, it's not like he just gave you pancakes. He gave you pancakes and eggs. Nick and Ace talk because he's asking if Ace feels a way that Shelly is still spending time with Austin. I wish Shelly would stop giving Austin the time of day. But we're here now. And Ace is like, no, she know where home is. And they both crack up. And I crack up too because, hey, I can't be mad at it. Ace and Shelly do a yoga date with Nick leading it. And they're all having fun with it. Like, they start doing some like sexual innuendos a little bit. And Shelly is loving it. But here we have Austin, like a dark cloud that we can't escape, just moping in the background. Because while Ace does play, you know what he doesn't do? Play about planning dates. Shelly has said multiple times she likes intention. And you know what Ace has? Intention, creativity. He's planning dates inside the villa for her. Even though he's not committing just to Shelly, he is making it clear Shelly is probably his front runner, because I don't see him curating dates for any of his other connections. And meanwhile, Ace is like the rain cloud that we can't get away from, even though we're in Fiji, peeping that Ace is doing all this. And instead of him putting on his big boy pants and saying, oh, let me curate a date based on what Shelly has told me she likes, he's just gonna sit there and mope and be like, ah, love triangles. I'm so tired of being in a love triangle. Huda and Jeremiah are talking once again. And this, to me, it's not a red flag, but it kind of reinforces what Jeremiah said when he says sometimes he feels like she's talking to him like he is her child and not her partner. Because Huda is pointing to the food and she's like, you need to make sure that you finish your food. And Jeremiah's like, why? Like, he tries to laugh it off at first, but you can tell that that comment rubbed him the wrong way because, girl, okay, mom. And so she's like, you know, you are a grown man. You need to make sure that you finish all your food. And Jeremiah's like, okay, mom. So then Huda feels away because that comment rubbed her the wrong way. And so then Huda continues to be passive aggressive. And this may be because I'm a Sagittarius, but I will always believe direct communication will get you what you want faster. I know as women, we don't like to tell the men what we want them to do. Like, don't get me flowers just because I tell you to get me flowers. But if I mention I love flowers, I'm now expecting you to get me flowers. And if you don't get me flowers, I'm going to tell you next time You know, I would love if you got me a bouquet for special occasions. Boom. Now he knows to get me bouquets for special occasions. He's happy, I'm happy, and I don't have to tell him again. But instead of Huda telling Jeremiah directly, I didn't appreciate you just standing around in the kitchen when I was struggling. Because the kitchen is open concept, so I'm sure he saw her struggling a little bit. She instead says, thank your boy Taylor for the pancakes because he helped me. And Jeremiah's like, what are you trying to say? Huda is mad because she had to call for another man to help her when her man was standing in the vicinity and did not offer to help her at all. But at the same time, I was there. Not physically, but me and the rest of the viewers were there when Huda was struggling at the stove and she turned around and said, Taylor, can you come help me, please? Now, if she had turned around and said, Jeremiah, can you come help me with this? And he either walked off like he didn't hear her, or he turned to her and said, not right now, I can't do that, I could understand Huda a little bit more. But she called for Taylor, didn't acknowledge Jeremiah like he wasn't acknowledging her. And so, like, I can see why she has an issue, but I feel like she made it bigger than it needed to be. So Jeremiah is getting annoyed because she's being passive aggressive and throwing shade at him. And he's like, look, when I do one thing you don't like, I feel like you disregard all the other things that I've done for you. And the communication is not there. Because when he said that, Huda definitely could have jumped on that and said, that is not what I mean. Because she said no, but she continued to spin it to where Jeremiah was the bad guy. Jeremiah doesn't do well when he feels like he's being confronted. He already said to somebody else, I think it was Nick or somebody, that he has trouble enforcing his boundaries. So, and we're seeing now he has trouble with confrontation. But I also feel like a lot of the times Huda is talking at him, not to him. Jeremiah goes to talk to Charlie and Nick about the fight that he just had with Huda, because Jeremiah is blown, okay? Jeremiah's mind is blown. His flapper was gasted because he did not think it was that big of a deal. But with Huda, everything is a big deal. Meanwhile, Huda is talking to Sierra, Shelly, and Olandria because apparently Jeremiah was telling her that he would step it up and he has not. And she's getting frustrated because she feels like all these other guys are doing stuff for their girls. You're not doing anything for me. So popping back over to the guys, one of them says, I think it's Charlie, you know, if Charlie is so nice, if this was to end, because Jeremiah is annoyed, like he's getting riled up a little bit because is just frustrated with the whole situation. And Charlie's like, listen, mate, if this were to end, there are options there. But Jeremiah, in his confessional, he's like, you know, after preaching all this lovey-dovey stuff with her, I don't want to just switch it up. And I can respect that. I can. Even though I feel like Jeremiah and Huda's connection is iffy, like sometimes I feel like there is a genuine connection there, but the way they go about it doesn't feel genuine to me. It's some kind of disconnect there that we see more and more of as the episodes go on. But I can respect Jeremiah saying, I don't want to just switch up on Huda just because we had a bad day. So Iris pulls Jeremiah for a chat while Jeremiah and Iris go talk. Huda is complaining to the girls, as she's prone to do, because she's saying how every time she brings up a problem to Jeremiah, he's always like, are you serious? And the girls are like, that's ridiculous, because Huda is saying every time Jeremiah brings a problem to her, she's like, well, let's problem solve. What can I do to be there for you? But he does not reciprocate that energy. Meanwhile, the guys are like, finally. Because they see Jeremiah talking to Iris, they're like, finally, my brother. The caterpillar is becoming a butterfly. Jeremiah and Iris are talking. Iris is trying to peep the scene. She's trying to see where Jeremiah's head is at. Jeremiah is basically telling her, while I am technically open, I do have a very strong connection with Huda, and I don't want to do too much to jeopardize that. So Pepe pulls Sierra for a chat, and Nick turns to, I can't remember the boy that he was sitting next to, but he turns to him and he's like, Pepe just hit me on the stomach, like we're cool, like we're boys. And you can tell Nick felt the way about that. I love the fact that the more we go along, the more it's clear that Nick is getting comfortable. So he's starting to like let his true personality come out. Sierra and Pepe, they're playing 20 questions to get to know each other. Pepe and Sierra both bond because while they like kids, they like the fact that they can drop them off to somebody else more. Like Sierra would love being an aunt, not a mother right now. Taylor takes Alandria for meditation. Now, remember, the whole villa saw Ace, Nick, and Shelly when they were doing some yoga where Nick was helping Ace do some suggestive movements so that Shelly could peep that he had some motion in the ocean. So Taylor takes a page out of that book, but instead of yoga, think meditation. So I don't know if Alandria was feeling it because it was not awkward, but it was something for sure. It was something, but by the end of it, I think they had a good time, and Alandria does appreciate that Taylor is starting to put some actions behind his words, but she's also kind of torn because is Taylor starting to step up because of the bombshells or because his feelings are starting to grow for her. Iris and Ace talk, they're bonding over their parents being divorced. Shelly is talking to Taylor and Alandria because she's comparing her connections between Ace and Austin, and she's saying one thing that sticks out to me is romance. And right now, Ace has been giving me that romance, Austin has not. Ace does open up a bit more when talking to Iris. We do see a slightly different side to him, where I feel like Ace is used to being the smooth talker, but maybe like Iris was giving him a little bit of a run for his money, so he wasn't sure what plays to use, especially when she got up to go check out the daybed and Ace was like laughing a little bit. He was a little stunned. He was like, what just happened? Like, I feel like Ace and Iris give the same energy. They're both very smooth talkers, and so maybe that's why it's so easy for them to talk to each other, because game recognized game. But I don't know. Ace tells Taylor, that he had a good convo with Iris, but to keep it on the low. But it's too late for that because Iris is telling all the girls in the little makeup room that she had a really great combo with Ace and that she's kind of feeling him. Alandria and Shelly talk by themselves, and I'm so glad. I'm so glad because I love when my two girls get together. But Alandria is telling Shelly that she's trying to figure out if Taylor is genuine with his actions or not, because he really only started to step up when a bombshell entered the villa. So they decide to play truth or dare, and while Austin and Shelly do their dare, because I think Sierra said, Austin, act out your favorite position with Shelly, and so he does, but he's also making sounds. I was kind of uncomfortable. But Ace was definitely uncomfortable. Nick and Iris talk. Again, I'm not feeling much chemistry between them. Even though Nick does say he was more engaged this time, it's not there for me. Taylor tells Sierra not to think too hard about them talking about Nick and Iris chatting, because Nick does really like Sierra. So Pepe and Sierra go talk on the docks. So I love that while Nick and Iris were talking, when Pepe pulls Sierra, she's like, yeah, let's go. I know that's right. Like, look, you can feel a way that your man is talking to the bombshell, but don't let him stop you from playing the field. I know that's right. Pepe says Sierra was more than meets the eye. But I'm sorry, all I could think was Transformers more than meets the eye. Y'all, somebody tell me that y'all know that reference, please. Pepe may be smooth, but the way he was talking to Sierra, it sounded like he was loaded. Jalen and Alandria are talking. Taylor, meanwhile, is talking to Nick, or he's telling him that Alandria did say that she liked that he initiated a date finally, and Nick is saying, continue to be wary because Alandria likes country dudes. And you know what? The more I say that, maybe that's why Nick is not trying to actively pursue her, because he's worried that because she likes country dudes, she won't give him the time of day. Alandria is telling Jalen that Taylor is a slow burn, and Jalen makes it clear that while he keeps it cute, keeps it respectful, he is very into her, and she likes that. She appreciates that. Ace and Iris talk. Ace is asking her if she sees herself breaking up a couple, and Iris is like, well, I'm gonna have to break somebody up. Charlie is making guac, okay? So Charlie is minding his business, making some guac. Pepe comes into the kitchen and he's like, dude, I need you to go. And Charlie's like, excuse me? And Pepe's like, I need you to go because me and Hannah are about to hang out in here. And Charlie's like, no. I was with Charlie. Who do you think you are coming into the kitchen to tell me to leave? Can't you see I'm busy? I'm making guac. So Charlie says, no, I'm making guac. I'm not leaving. So Hannah has walked up because she's ready to talk to Pepe. So Pepe's like, well, we can go somewhere else. Hannah's like, okay. They end up going to the speakeasy. Yes. They end up going to the speakeasy. Hannah and Pepe are talking. Meanwhile, Austin has come into the kitchen as a part of like solidarity with Charlie, where, you know, he's helping him make guac. They're talking a little bit. Charlie is getting more and more annoyed that Hannah's head seems to be turning more and more away from him. Charlie and Shelly go talk, and I do think that that's a good friendship right there, because Shelly is telling Charlie, don't worry until Hannah tells you to worry. And Charlie in his confessional is like, I do tend to overthink, but I'm going to keep doing it because half the time what I think is correct. And as soon as we're done with that confessional, we pop over to Hannah and Pepe, and what are they doing? Not talking. What are they doing? Not talking. They are making out. And it's steamy, y'all. Like, it's steamy. Good luck, Charlie. And then we find out that the public will vote on who the bombshells should couple up with. And then that's a little preview. The episode ends. And y'all, what did we think? I just know episode 12 is going to be messy because episode 11 is the after sun. So I just know the next episode is going to be messy. But let me know what y'all thought down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. And I will see y'all in the next one. Bye, guys.